There we go.
All right. Good on my end.
Good.
Got it.
Our first live stream, we're going to be talking Rhythm of War predictions, and we have some guests with us today. I'll introduce what Worldhoppers is, and then they'll introduce themselves. So if you're new, Worldhoppers is a collaborative channel where a bunch of book nerds get together and geek out over books, and any merchandise profit and AdSense revenue is donated to charity. So that's what Worldhoppers is, but we have some people joining us today to talk about Rhythm of War predictions, so I'll let them introduce themselves. If you want to go first, Christy?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you. My name is Christy Lewis, and I booktube over at Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space is my channel. And we do Stormalong 2020, and it's a blast. And Michael is one of... Wait. That guy.
It's the Brady Bunch.
My co-hosts.
The Stormalong is super fun. If anybody needs any really helpful recaps or just wants to hang out and listen to Stormlight content, it's a good time.
Well, thank you.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I'm with the Nerdy Narrative. What's up, nerds? I have a little channel that covers the majority of science fiction, fantasy. Then I have a little horror and manga. And Christy Lewis is responsible for getting me into nonfiction recently, and I'm really enjoying that. But that's my little channel.
Yay.
Yay.
And I'm Michael from the channel Michael Nip. I just discovered Stormlight this year, and it's been wild because I read them and then jumped into Stormalong 2020, and Rhythm of War is just around the corner, and I'm beyond hype at this point.
It's funny because the way you talk about it, it does not seem like you just got into it.
I just read it, but like I knew before starting it was probably going to be my favorite thing, and I was correct about that.
And he got me into it. So.
Michael, you read it and then reread it, or not?
I did reread The Way of Kings. I haven't reread the other ones, but The Way of Kings is probably my favorite book.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, Michael got into The Way of Kings, got me into it. I read that. They started Stormalong, so then I immediately reread The Way of Kings and then followed them with it.
Every time, one of the Stormalong people, Victoria, has some musical compositions, and I've done those before too. But every time I go to make one, I just think about, because I'll be like, okay, how do I capture this character? And then I get all emotional because I'm like, oh, now I just need to like reread all of it and like sing them all again. It's so, this series is so stupid emotional.
I can't wait to reread it. It's going to be so much fun.
Well,
like, I know there's going to be so many things I'm going to pick up on that I missed before. And like, I can't wait.
I know, and I know this is Stormlight, but that's how, when I reread Mistborn, I was like, I felt so dumb, the things that I'm like, you were already planning already, like noticing the things and references. So I am excited for when the whole first 5-part arc is done to go back and be like, gosh darn it. It's so big and there's so many things that I'm sure there's going to be something. There's going to be tons of stuff that everybody has missed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I read Warbreaker before Oathbringer, and I still missed so many connections with Warbreaker and Oathbringer, and I felt so dumb. And other people are like, it's so obvious. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, like, if I go back and reread and put all these puzzle pieces together, it's just going to be so much fun to see how much I missed and how much was just right there.
She just messaged me the other day. She's like, wait. And it was something like a tie-in. She's like, this from Warbreaker? And I was like,
yeah. There have been a couple like characters and stuff that I was like, I think this person's in Warbreaker, but I haven't read it yet. And I'm really kicking myself, but I didn't have time. Like if I wanted to be ready for Rhythm of War, I didn't have time to read Warbreaker, but I'm going to read it, I think, early next year while all of Oathbringer is still fresh in my mind, so I can maybe make some of those connections.
Well, and I would say, so I've had people in the past before Rhythm of War, which is like the first 3, who were like, you have to read Warbreaker. People would always say that. I'm like, you don't have to, because some people end up not even noticing and then they realize later, or you can just do it in reverse. You know, you could read Warbreaker and then Stormlight, or Stormlight and then read Warbreaker and appreciate it in the other order. But now I'm kind of like,
need to understand it. It's more like Easter eggy type stuff.
Yeah.
But like
It just enhances the experience.
exactly. Like the Easter egg stuff, at some point I'm like, I kind of feel like at some point you are gonna have to read everything else to really like all the Cosmere connections.
I don't know when the turnover is going to be, but it has to be soon.
I know at some point it's gonna turn into like Avengers, right? Where it's like
That's the hope, I think.
Yeah.
Hey everybody who's joining us in the chat. Really quick, we talked about maybe doing a wish list before we do predictions, having a wish list of things that we hope happens in the series. So I don't know if any of you guys, Jesse, you said you have some wish list items, right?
I do, yes. So just to make it very clear for anyone watching, there are going to be some spoilers at this point forward for the Stormlight archives up until Rhythm of War.
Yeah, I think if you haven't read Oathbringer, you should probably not watch this live stream.
This is the first time that I've ever been on a stream and been able to talk without worrying about spoilers ever.
Your face never worried about those.
Watching you and Christy during the storm along is always so funny because like they're nice enough to be like, guys, what are your predictions to the other storm along people? And I always feel bad when they mention something and I'm sitting here like amused. And I'm like, you guys are trying not to say anything. Oh no,
I think the funniest one Michael had was I had the shirt that was the 8-bit Seth and Nightblood, and I just thought it was a funny mashup. But he knew the whole time it was a tie-in that Seth was going to end up with Nightblood.
He was texting me about how excited he was for you to realize.
Well, I think I gave him the reaction he was looking for.
I don't think we said this, but we were originally going to have another person here, Katie, but Katie couldn't make it. So in case anybody's like, wait a sec, where's Katie?
Oh,
I forgot to
be here, girl.
Anyway, Jesse, now that you're back.
Yes. Okay. So my first wish list, and I don't know if this is going to actually happen. I feel like it won't, but what would be really cool in my mind is if Adolin somehow gets Nightblood and somehow goes bad and becomes Odium's champion. I want to go bad.
That's on your wish list?
No
way.
No. No.
No. What I do now, so I do not want that to happen.
No. Adolin just got higher in my ranks of favorites in Oathbringer.
Oh my gosh.
So I would love to see Adolin become a Radiant. What the heck, Jess?
Yes.
He's like the only main character that hasn't.
And he's so good.
That's why I don't want. Okay, so
We need
I mean,
more
he
Adolin
told his
fans.
Starblade, thank you. And
So really quick, in case, because if I ever say anything in past tense, it is not because I'm saying it's not happening. It's because I'm referring to like where I was before Rhythm of War, if that makes sense. So if I ever say like, well, I thought or I was hoping, that is not me giving away spoilers, just to make everybody clear on that. But I was always, so Jesse and I have talked about the Adolin going evil thing a lot. I did like a whole Odium's champion. I'm like, please be Adolin. But I know there's also a theory that as far as the Radiance thing goes, there's a theory that he will restore Maya. And a lot of people think that that's like heavily foreshadowed. So I'm curious if you guys think that that's going to happen.
I think that would be really cool. I mean, she's already kind of like interacting with him, even though she's dead. So like, I could see that happening.
I think he's going to find a way to save her.
What if he finds a way to bring her back to life? Like
that's what I hope.
Yeah, I would be.
I mean,
down
she
with that.
obviously cares for him too. She saved his life.
He would have to bond with the dead
He's
spren.
like, he gave her away, and he could like feel her emotions and stuff. Like that was cool.
Michael, Kaladin killed Syl, and he fixed it.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's not impossible. I'm just saying it's probably going to have to be like a process if that's going to happen. That's what I hope does happen.
I think the process has started.
And I think that's true, especially because we see the 7-second summon with the shard blade at the end of Oathbringer.
I missed that. That's so cool.
But
Okay.
but I think that there is probably just as much foreshadowing that Adolin might at least be approached to be Odium's champion. Or Adolin might be-
They've got Renarin.
Audience will be like, if you're interested in this position, Adolin, I was hoping.
Renarin is like, I don't know.
His
Everyone
friend's
loved Renarin.
infected.
Everyone likes Renarin, but Renarin
No.
hasn't done anything.
Who was the one that's always mistrusted that Joker? From the start.
Oh, I do. I love Renard.
I love Renarin too. When Yasna was like about to kill him and he's just like crying, he's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just
Oh my god.
heart broke. Poor baby.
See, I didn't feel bad for him. I cried over Elokar when that happened. What caused me to cry was when I read that he had Shallan's sketch. And like,
Yeah, and
I
he
just get
was
chills thinking about it.
Saying the words. Oh,
Yes. Oh, and that was when I was over Moash and his redemption arc.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Burn, baby.
that was something I typed up. The Moash will get a redemption arc because he did indeed do something wrong.
No.
I hate when people are
Bridge
like,
4 is going to take him out. No arc. He's dead. Kidding.
But I do think there was a little bit of foreshadowing about him maybe getting a redemption arc, because at the end of Oathbringer, when he's like in the very last chapter, when he's like using the pickaxe and stuff, and some of the Parshmen come to him and say that they felt something calling them to him, and I was like, what is that about? So I feel like maybe, I don't know, but then he takes the honor blade, so
I know.
I don't like Moash. I don't want a redemption arc. I wanted
I
one.
loved him.
Oathbringer, but I'm over it. No,
I
thanks.
did too. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. When he killed Elokar saying the words, I was done.
I feel like
Like
Christy
that.
has something to say.
I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm reacting to what all you guys are saying. The reason this is so hard to predict is because Brandon has regularly done things that seemed like he was making a promise to his readers. And so you're like, oh, cool, Shallan and Kaladin are going to get together. Elokar is going to become a Radiant. Like, he'll like do things that make you think, oh yeah, this is going to happen. And then he'll break your heart. And it's just, it's also not the first time that he has tried to redeem a character who seems irredeemable. So I don't know what will happen with Moash. It's like, it seemed like he was setting up a redemption arc, but I have no idea if it's actually gonna, or if he's gonna go bad, like totally. So
yeah. I have to say, one of my wish list items is still Kaladin and Shallan.
No. She's crazy.
I'm so disappointed that it was the love triangle resolved like that. Like, what the heck?
No, I was happy though. You know why? She doesn't really know who she is. Kaladin doesn't need that in his life. He needs a nice, stable one.
He is way more than Adolin. Like, Adolin thinks he's in love with her, but he doesn't even know her.
He knows her better than everybody.
This is so heated.
And remember, Jade, Adolin likes to have a flavor of the week. With her having all those personas, he gets that.
Not okay.
I'm sorry.
just saying.
I'm sorry for mentioning Shallan.
No, I that as my like one wish list item is like, this can't be the end of the love triangle. Like, there has to be more, and it has to end up.
I don't think it's over.
Okay, look, I don't think
I could be true to that.
I don't think Shallan should be necessarily with Adolin. I think Adolin's gonna go bad. So we know how I stand with that.
Do you think that Shallan should go bad? Do you think
Oh,
Shallan should go bad?
I do.
I
know.
don't.
Part
That
of
would be
her.
cool. I'm all for people going bad.
I'll go bad too. I love this comment that sequential. The only way I'd be down for that is a healthy poly relationship.
No, I think Shallan needs to be on her own. She needs to figure herself out. I think I'm team Shallan, figure yourself out first.
Yes.
Okay,
Same.
You know that moment where Kaladin is in that, like basically the carriage with them, And he's like, man, they're okay apart, but together I just can't stand them. And I'm like, me too, Kaladin. I vomit my mouth a little bit with the two of them. Like, if anybody thinks they're cute, let me know. Because Adolin and Shallan, I'm always like, ugh. Every time they have, the only funny part is when they have their little, like, what happens in your shard plate? Like, that's
Yes.
That was funny. So there was a scene in Oathbringer that made them grow on me. Like there were multiple scenes, but whenever Adolin like admits that he killed Sadeas to Shallan, I really loved that moment, and that made me want them to be together a little bit. Like that's where I was starting to feel torn between the love triangle.
I don't know that I necessarily want her and Kaladin to be together. But I definitely felt like their moment in the chasm was deeper emotionally than anything between, because her and Adolin's always like, oh, he's like hot. And then like he's interesting. She's way different than all the other women who I've dated. And I'm just like, yeah, let's get married. Like I don't.
It's very surface level. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, they were only going to get married initially for like to save her family.
Political,
like it's not like it had to be relational anyway. But also, I think I'm with Jade. I think that they're cute together. I think it's fun. Is it healthy or stable? No. But I sometimes chalk that up to just Brandon not always writing the best romances. I don't know if that's mean to say, but I think it's true.
No,
arranged marriages. Like that's like a trope in Sanderson's books. It's like arranged marriages. Have you guys noticed this?
I think that's just simple for him because I don't think he really wants to write a whole lot of romance. Although I felt dirty reading about
the safe hand.
Navani showing her safe hand to Dalinar. I felt disgusted. Oh man, cover that thing up.
All of us right now are being blasted.
I was gonna say all of you guys are.
Sorry guys, this is being really inappropriate. Hopefully this is going in public.
Mature audiences only.
I will say, like, we recently pre-recorded an Unpopular Opinions video, and we talked about how there are some crazy Sanderfans out there. But the fun ones, which I would say most of the Sanderson fandom is really fun. And I always love when they comment and they're like, oh, she's showing her safe hand. And like, for my video, I love it. Like, this is so fun and nerdy, and it's great.
I'm left-handed, so I would be like really out of line.
I would be in trouble.
Yeah.
I wonder the amount of women in the Stormlight Archive world that are like, gosh darn, it's like when communism was a big like, oh no, communists, and there's that fear that people that are left-handed were like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, well, they probably force them to be right-handed.
So yes, so I had a teacher in high school who she was growing up left-handed, and they made her right-handed because they're like, oh, you're a communist.
Yeah, they did that to my dad, and so at school he would write right-handed. At home doing homework, he would write left-handed, but he can write the same handwriting with both hands because of it. It's weird.
That's cool.
I get it honest.
Side thing, sorry. So anyway, back to the prediction wish list. What other wish list items do we have?
I want. I sound like I hate any joy in my books, and I just want suffering. I swear that's not the case. I want one of the main characters to die. I think it's time, and it would raise the stakes. Everybody's been very safe.
I mean, how main? Do you have a checklist?
But who?
Yeah,
Kaladin, Shallan, Dalinar.
Likely it's Dalinar.
Well,
I love Dalinar is my favorite, but I think I would be.
Oh no!
Oh, we lost her.
Well, I will say,
I think that out of all of the main characters, Dalinar is the most likely to die. I mean, he's the oldest, and like just his plot line and everything. I feel like he is the most likely to die, but I don't want it to happen.
He fulfilled his purpose. He united, so his purpose is done.
But the
as far as we know.
Stormfather. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christy.
Yeah, the Stormfather said that Dalinar could be like the most powerful. Like he could have as much power as the Heralds. But I feel like that's a promise that he's making to the reader. But that he could also break it again because again, He likes to do that.
Yeah.
Brando.
One thing that I'm like, I don't quite understand. I don't think we're supposed to understand, but like at some point in Oathbringer during the last battle, he says like, I am unity with a capital U. And I'm like, what is that? Is that like one, like, it sounds like the name of one of the gods or something. Is he becoming a god?
Ooh.
Well, but wasn't there, who was it that said ascended? Didn't Odium ask him if he ascended with a capital A?
I don't remember that. I don't know.
I was talking. I was talking
theory.
to Angela from Literature Science Alliance, and she thinks that's what happened at the end of Oathbringer. Was that he got a shard, and that would be what you were talking about.
That's one of the. I typed that up ahead of time. That's one of the theories. Is that because there's a theory. I always said like I thought Dalinar would die, and then some people have a theory that he'll. Anyway, so that he'll like essentially get a shard, and then. Not just
maybe his mortal self will die, but this new will live on.
That. It'd also be okay if Adolin died and then Shallan would die.
No, let one of her personas die.
Jesse's connection. She's just dropping stuff and then disappearing.
It's because the live stream is over her Adolin hate.
I hate Adolin. And that unpopular opinion, so we just pre-recorded. I like legit was like, do I need to go back and edit out my Adolin hate? Because it's like 10. I basically said, okay, guys, it's, you know, like in The Office, like Michael Scott with Toby, you know, like that's like me with Adolin. And like I have a whole set of tabs, and I have a special color that I go through and like tab like dumb Adolin, like just moments when like dumb Adolin. I just like can't stand him. And I know it's like people get upset when I'm like I don't like Adolin, but oh well, you know sometimes those characters don't click. But
I definitely didn't like him in The Way of Kings, but through Wars of Radiance and Oathbringer, he's been growing on me. He's got a good soul.
So I didn't like him until Oathbringer. And now he's like the one that's the less tarnished out of all of them. I'm so upset with Dalinar.
Well,
I know. I'm so upset.
That is.
So
but I was really surprised that he didn't want to be king. He turned it down. I was like, what? I'm super excited that Yasna is queen. Like when they ended that scene, they didn't say who. They ended it with Shallan being like, have you guys ever considered ... And I was like, oh, they're gonna make Yasna queen, and I was like so happy I was right about that.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I thought it was very in line. Sorry, I'm gonna like tack on my Adolin hate. I thought it was super in line to him be like, nah, I don't wanna, because that's just how Adolin is. He doesn't want any responsibility, which I get. It's like the what's the chosen one, but like that doesn't want it.
Reluctant chosen one.
Yeah, the reluctant hero trope kind of thing. It's kind of like that, except for it's like, dude, you have all the privilege and opportunity to make lives better, and you're like, but there's all these colors of wine, my dad won't let me drink, and I'm just like, I can't handle your problem.
That's because Sanderson is saving him for something better,
or
worse. Know it.
No,
worse. No, I want to be clear. I like Adolin. I actually really like Adolin as the character, but I'd also be okay with his death or going bad. That's all.
I would rather him die than go bad, just for my own heart's sake. I'll take it.
Yes.
I'd rather him go bad, but that's okay.
If I have to choose.
So, like, I don't know. So, if we're talking about Moash, either he gets a redemption arc and he starts getting redeemed, or he goes like Arrow from the CW TV show and he just starts hitting off like light eyes. So he could either go one of those two directions, and either one of them could be cool, though I think that a lot of people won't believe in a Moash redemption. I don't know. We'll see what Sanderson does. But also, he could just start going and killing everybody, which would be also cool.
On the kind of like circling back with the, you know, like whether a character dies or goes bad or anything like that. When we were talking about Dalinar, I like Dalinar as a character, like how he's written, but I also feel like if he were to die, the fandom would kind of be like, I mean, after the Oathbringer past stuff, like it's
not just that. Yeah, his arc has kind of finalized. I feel like I don't know if there's a lot of places he can go moving forward. So even though I do love Dalinar, I think that if we have to kill somebody, his is acceptable just because he's older. and you know, he had kids, he got married, he united them, he, you know, brought you through. He did so many good things that if he died, it'd be like, well, that's sad, but also, you know, if we have to kill somebody,
but I
not
also
him.
feel like he's not going to kill Dalinar because it's almost the most expected death.
It is the most expected, I think.
I mean, the least expected would be Kaladin, right?
Okay, I agree. When people when I was doing my predictions, I had people submit theirs, and somebody said Kaladin will die, and I was like, no, no.
That better not happen.
I could see it happening potentially in book 5. I just can't see it happening in 4.
Well, and I had some people say that they thought Kaladin would be Odium's champion, and I was like, we've seen Kaladin time and time and time again. Like, he would, I feel bad even bringing this up, but I feel like he would kill himself before he would go bad.
But
there's so much.
He's the only one, him and Moash are the only one that really understand the Parshendi right now. So if we had to see somebody come to the Parshendi's defense in some way, Kaladin and Moash are the only options to do it. Moash seems like the too easy option for Odium's champion.
I was literally
so I could see a weird twist.
Moash, who's going to be Odium's champion.
That just seems too easy, even though because it's easy to hate Moash. And like, oh yeah, he'll just become the bad guy. That seems too easy to me.
So what if Moash is Odium's champion and then Kaladin has to kill him?
I mean, I want Kaladin to kill him regardless.
Moash deserves it.
And also, Kaladin didn't get to kill Amaram. So like, I need him to kill somebody who's like wronged him, right? Or has caused issues.
Yeah. He's gotten no revenge.
I know.
If Dalinar were to die, how would that affect Adolin? Not well.
Dalinar. You guys have got my wheels going. What if Moash kills Dalinar and then Kaladin kills Moash?
Like wishing for
no.
death.
Moash will not get Dalinar because Zeth and Nightblood. Not happening.
Protect him.
Not happening.
I love that.
That is exactly the evil.
We need a lot more Zeth before he dies.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely need more Zeth.
Here, I have a fun one for you guys. Hoid is up to stuff, but what?
I don't even know. That freaking epilogue, I was like, I don't understand any of this. Who are these? He kept naming some of the Voidbringer people by name and was like, oh, I danced with her 1,000 years ago. And I'm like, who is this person? What is Hoid up to? I don't know.
The chapter where he was talking to Shallan and she was saying something about she wanted, what was it? And he says, you already know how, learn why. She wanted to save the world or something like that. That whole chapter was just awesome.
Interesting.
I feel like there's something important in Dawnshard. Unless we already knew about it and I'm just kind of behind the times.
Oh no! The timing.
What a cliffhanger.
It's like
what a cliffhanger.
YouTube doesn't want her to talk about.
I mean, whatever character is the saddest and most beat down, Hoid is going to show up and give him a pep talk. That seems to be his job.
I remember years ago when I read Oathbringer, I was like, Shallan has more of a connection with Wit than she does with Adolin. Like that moment with that, that's when I really like that moment where her and Hoid have like that conversation and everything.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, he's definitely getting some pieces into place. I don't even think he knows what he's doing.
I just want to know more about him. Like in this book, we learned that he's like really, really, really old. And I'm like, what have you been doing your whole life? Tell me.
Besides telling stories.
Yes. Stories that I never understand. I'm just like, what is this?
Okay, I just... Sometimes when Hoid tells stories, I feel like we're supposed to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And the characters sometimes react like it was a moral story. And sometimes I'm like, I kind of see what you were trying to say. And sometimes I'm like, dude, if you were trying to tell a parable, I don't know what the frick you were talking about. Like, you made the character happy, I guess, but this was very confusing.
That's how I felt about the one in Words of Radiance when he tells the story to Kaladin about the guy who's like running away from the storm or whatever. I was like, wait, is he telling me that Kaladin's like been reincarnated and he's had this past life and I had this whole like elaborate theory based on the story because I didn't understand what it was about. It's so confusing.
I feel like a character telling a story within a story is like how you win an award in a fantasy book. Like that's how you prove you have good lore. Is like have somebody tell somebody a story
Or sing a song.
or sing a song.
Yeah.
Or sing a song, yeah.
You have like
And I don't know.
And
Am I alone in picturing Wit as Geoffrey Chaucer from A Knight's Tale?
Nope.
Ryan from
That
Seeking
sounds great.
Stories and I were talking about that the other day, and that's how we picture Wit every time we read about him.
That's funny.
who do I picture Wit as? I'm trying to think of like it's gotta be.
Are there
It was
theories-
Paul Bettany.
Aren't there theories out there that like Sanderson is Wit /
Oh,
I have seen those.
that would be
theories.
hilarious.
Oh my god!
That's awesome.
But I think isn't there a set of books he was going to write about Hoid's backstory? So I don't think that's where it's going, but that's a fun theory.
I
This
would
is a
love to
fun
have a book
theory.
about him.
Yeah, that's a fun theory. I like that.
Shallan and Adolin get together in World Hop. Adolin loses it. Once again, Adolin's left behind, guys. He's not a
Listen. I think that Adolin is the type of dude that if Shallan were to just spend all of her time with another guy, he probably wouldn't notice.
He'd be fine with it.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Hey, I trust her. She's cool."
He would be fine with it because at the end of Oathbringer, when she's like, "It's fine that Vale's into Kaladin," he's like, "That's concerning," and she's like, "No, it's under control." And he's like, "No, that you have like other personalities," and I'm like, "And also,
But he's cool with it because he's such a loving, wonderful character.
And he loves
Or
all the
because-
best out of all of her personalities. And then at the end, from when we were in Shallan's head, she said something like, "Oh, Vale and Adolin get along like drinking buddies, but he won't be
Yeah.
intimate with her." I'm like, "You're crazy, girl. You're crazy."
Okay, I have a prediction. Adolin in the 5th book is going to ask Shallan to create a persona that goes shopping with him.
probably."
I wouldn't be surprised.
He kills
I
me
like-
with his fashion.
He'll need somebody to go shopping and pick out outfits. I feel like that is super likely. Okay, I have what I wanted to make an entire video. I saw this theory and I wanted to make a whole video about it because I was like, is this the most ridiculous theory ever, or is it actually the one that's totally in everybody's faces and we're all missing it? Gavilar is still alive. Have you guys seen this
No.
theory?
I
No.
have seen the theory.
No.
We've
So-
seen him die like 3 times, okay?
From different
Right.
angles.
But that's what's kind of fun is it's like, what if all the first 4 books you see him die, and in the 5th one, what if it was like his point of view and it turns out he's alive?
Yeah, he could have gone into Shadesmar like Yasna and hid out. There's humans that stay there.
If he
So-
was okay, if he was a Radiant, he wouldn't have had to try to bring the Radiance back like he was trying to do with the cult or whatever he was doing.
So yeah, I've like looked into it, and people have like done like the timeline of like, okay, well, this many minutes would have had to have happened for this person to come here, and then this person, and I really wanted to get further into it because I thought it was a fun theory, but I don't know about that. But like then Sanderson, you're like, what is it? Because Sanderson pulls the craziest stuff.
I like the theory, but I don't know if I'd buy it. But if I'm wrong, I'd be happy about it.
Yeah.
Roshar secret history.
Ooh, that would present a problem with Dalinar and Navani for sure.
That would be
Oops.
uncomfortable. Gavilar would be like, I knew it. I knew you were into my brother.
The Real Housewives of Roshar.
That's the real
Oh.
reason why he faked his own death, was he wanted to see if she would leave him for Dalinar.
So I have a question for you all because we haven't really talked about Nightblood much. What do we think's going to happen with Nightblood? Is the cover of the book a clue, or
So-
is it just coincidence?
Yeah, I want to comment on that really quick to add, because Jesse and I talked about this. When Michael Whelan, when people are like, is it Nightblood because it's colorful by the sword on the American cover? And he's like, I just wanted to add some color to the cover in that spot. And I was like, guys, do you think if it was something, do you think that the cover artist would spoil that and be like, you're right, it sure is Nightblood? Like, he wanted to say that, right? So yeah, what do you guys think about that? What do you think is going on with Nightblood?
Hold on, I'm trying to pull up the cover because I haven't looked that
I
quick.
like I like it belonging to Szeth, and I just don't know why he would give it up, short of the fact that he, as a Radiant, would have his own blade.
Do you see?
I still want to know why the Herald gave Nightblood to Szeth, and how did he get it from Vasher?
Well, I think, the whole, like, why do Vasher and Vivenna not have the sword, I think is, like, such a big question mark that I just don't see us answering yet. I don't know if that's...
No, I think he's going to wait and do it in the sequel to Warbreaker.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
He's just going ahead and getting us interested.
I'm trying to remain quiet about Warbreaker tie-ins because I don't want anybody who hasn't read it to potentially get. So I'm trying not to say.
Yeah.
But so for people that don't know, on the cover of if you look at the back, Adolin's got a sword and there's like a rainbow look on it, and there's like theories that that's Nightblood that he's holding. So
or he figured out how to get his spren alive.
Yeah, maybe it's because his spren comes back to life.
Do you think that looks like a shard blade? Or not a shard, but like
he has a shard blade anyway.
The spren one?
I mean,
Although-
Rich does bring up a good point. He said, what? Cover spoilers? That would be like sticking a supposedly dead character on the cover of a book. So, I mean, it's a good point.
Good point.
That is a good
It might have
point.
something to do with Nightblood. I don't know if it's coincidence.
Interesting.
I have a question about how you guys perceive Nightblood. So the first time I read anything about Nightblood, I was thinking like, oh, it's like kind of ominous. But then I would talk to other people and they're like, it's so funny. And I'm like, is it? It's like really violent and malicious.
Yeah.
I feel like there are times where Brandon will do that. He'll kind of like cover up somebody that's clearly sketchy with humor, and then it turns out that they really are sketchy, and you really shouldn't have trusted them. So
sketchy. I definitely think Nightblood is sketchy.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't care. I love him.
I don't know.
Or is it a her? Let's call Nightblood a her one time.
Oh, maybe.
An Oathbringer.
Yeah.
I have another fun theory. This was one that somebody brought up, and I remember reading a comment that was like, "What the heck? Where's that theory come from?" So I'm curious what you guys think. That Yasna and Kaladin will be a couple.
Oh, I've seen that.
The Yasna and Kaladin will be what?
I could be okay. I could be on board with this. They had some really funny banter in Oathbringer. I could see this.
Well, I
don't know that was banter. They
think it was just
seemed to like each other. Yeah. I would rather see him with, is it Risen? How do y'all say her name from Dawnshards?
I said it so wrong.
What is it?
I think Risen, but I don't know.
I think it's Risen,
Yeah. I think Risen and Kaladin would be a very powerful couple.
I mean, yes. I don't know.
A single fella. I feel like everybody always. I've seen some that say he should end up with Syl, and I'm like, that's weird though, because she was like basically a little child.
Yeah, it's not about Risen.
But there was a kind of mention about the Radiant and the Honor Spren, something that probably led to that, which.
Yeah, there was
when she was in
their relationship is really intimate.
Yeah.
But I don't think they meant it that way. I don't know.
It's weird because he needs a friend, and that's why everybody wants him to have a relationship. But he does have that relationship with Syl, so I could also be fine with him just staying single.
I kind of know.
Leslie, what was it? What was that you said? It like cut out for a second when you were saying the connection.
I have already forgotten.
Oh, okay, sorry. I feel bad that I missed it. This one, Syl and Kaladin is like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. I don't know how I feel about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. I kind of subscribe to the theory that potentially Kaladin could end up as a. That's not me, is it? Sorry, I don't think so. Okay.
Sorry, that was me. My bad.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it was true. I have the potential theory that I heard. I think Michael and was it Katie?
Catherine.
No. Catherine, thank you. Did a video of predictions, and they talked about how Kaladin might become like a Radiant after
A
like
herald,
they need
yeah.
a Herald. Yeah,
Oh.
a Herald like replaced them because they're all like nuts. and
One of them just died.
Yeah,
Right.
Jedrian, wasn't it?
so
Just-
they
that
need
I
a
killed?
replacement already.
Freaking Moash.
And I
Yes.
think if he became a Herald, then he probably wouldn't end up with anybody. It would just be him and Syl
Yeah.
surviving.
I remember seeing.
I would be good with that.
I know.
Me too.
I can't like confirm this, but I was also like, I didn't interpret it that way. So that moment in Oathbringer when after the battle, Shallan and Adolin are talking and Kaladin's up high and he sees them and he's basically saying, you know, Syl's like, you should still go for her. And he was like, no, I don't think I ever felt that way anyway. I think she just reminded me of someone. And somebody had commented, they're like, oh, he's talking about Syl. And I was like, I think he's talking about his brother, Tian. Like that way that the like happiness that she was able to bring, you know, despite circumstances. But I don't think
I thought he was talking about his like ex-girlfriend from which I wonder if she'll pop up because she's not dead or anything. I don't remember what her name is. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Tara? Was
Isn't
it
it
Tara?
Tara or something. I just assumed that's who he was talking about because it was like a romantic
I
relationship.
thought she was dead.
I thought that was implied that she was dead.
I
I
thought
thought she took a job at a city.
Yeah, she took a job in a different city, like in the Shattered Plains, before he could go there. And that's
Maybe that's it.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing about it.
I thought she died. I don't remember because it's so briefly mentioned.
I know. Like he kept throwing her name out like multiple times before we found out who she was, and I was like, "Who is this Tara girl?" And then we kind of found out.
So we're not
Laurel. Someone mentioned Laurel. That's
not Laurel. That's from
girlfriend.
she's from Hearthstone.
Wait a
Married
minute.
Roshar,
She
right?
Yeah.
She was kind of like a tailor. So if she shows up in Rhythm of War, her and Adolin are going to end up together.
And then Kaladin will have another reason.
Yep.
To hate Adolin. So another girlfriend.
Prediction: Adolin develops a harem.
It's likely.
He's already
Have Vale, Radiant, Shallan, and then we'll have Laurel or Tara, whatever, one of the Kaladin's ex-girlfriends. Okay, so here's one that's like actually a serious one and not like a silly one, but that Taravangian has.
I mean, I feel like that's a duh. He's got to have more schemes. I kind of had mixed feelings about Taravangian, and then at the end of Oathbringer, when he like legit has a conversation with Odium, I was like, "What are you doing? No, quit
Right.
fraternising with the enemy." I was not happy about that.
Well, but look at his position. He's not a Radiant or anything like that to defend himself against Odium. So maybe he's just doing what he has to.
Like, if you
until-
can't beat him, join him. Like, no, the good side so you can help them win. What the heck?
I don't think
I'm not
Taravangian
gonna
was
lie.
ever portrayed as being good, was he?
Well,
He was doing things for what I thought was a good reason until I found out that, like, underneath it all, it was so that he could get Odium to save his people, which is still a good reason, but not good enough.
In a world where we have like journey before destination be such an important point, the things that Taravangian has done are horrible.
Yeah. And I
That's
love
a good
how at the end of Oathbringer, Taravangian like tells Dalinar a little bit about some of his schemes and that he was the one that kind of, caused all of the political drama. But then in the next little bit, someone asked Dalinar if they think Taravangian was the one who stole the Honor Blade, which he was. And Dalinar is like, no, I don't think so. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was Adolin. That was Adolin that was intelligent enough to figure out.
I know. And
Taravangian's
Dalinar
bad
was like,
one.
no, he wouldn't do that. And I'm just like,
Adolin knows who his father should not trust. He did it with Amaram
Right.
too. He's intuitive about some things and very dull about others.
which is
Yeah,
why
and Sadius.
he needs to listen to his intuition.
Yep.
Am I the only one though that when Taravangian on his dumb days is just like a sad, emotional old man? I'm like, oh, this makes me sad. Am
I know, he was like reading
Yeah.
letters from his grandkids, and I was like, oh. And then right after that, he talks to Odium, and I was like, screw you, man.
I love though like the Taravangian Dalinar scenes, like when the two of them, because they're so opposite. Because Dalinar, like you were saying, Michael, is so like you have to have the good intentions, And then Taravangian is all about the end result. And so they're so opposites. It's like in every action movie when like the two bad guys like sit at a restaurant and have like their conversation. That's how I feel every time they talk, and I love it.
Oh, there is a little bit of a Professor X like Magneto vibe there, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I think that in Taravangian, I mean, you would say he's a villain, right? I feel like he's one of my favorite villains because he's like, you kind of can see where he's coming from. And also when you think about how Dalinar used to be, you're kind of like, well, I mean, Dalinar sort of kind of did kill lots of innocent people.
Yeah.
But he's a changed man.
CJ, not really. He just forgot who he was. So he
I
never
think-
changed. He just forgot.
But he chooses at the end of Oathbringer not to give in to the thrill and odium. He chooses good.
I have to say, I've always thought when people are like, it's the best redemption arc, I'm like, yeah, except for he like forgot. He literally just got to be like a different guy. And then it's like, I understand that the pain it feels fresh, but it's like, except for it's not.
It's the most interesting redemption arc because it almost happens backwards. Because he forgot everything, which is not a real redemption arc. He chose to be better without the guilt. And then the guilt comes back and he's like, no, I'm going to eat that. That's mine. And it's like, oh, that's such a weird way to approach it.
Exactly. I still love Dalinar.
Me too.
I love him, but he's
I'm with Jen.
tarnished.
He's tarnished like every other human.
I feel like a little more though than a lot of other humans.
How many Parshmen did Kaladin kill?
Wait, that was like a soldier obeying his orders as opposed to
Dalinar was supposed to take out that city.
But
technically,
remember,
Dalinar was supposed to kill that kid.
Kaladin thought it was the us against them mindset. He didn't.
And he was getting revenge because they tricked him.
Right?
This is getting heated. Not really, but okay. I have another. This one I think is kind of another fun one. Do you guys think Shallan will create more personalities?
I hope
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
I had some losing views on that.
No, I think we'll stick with the 3 we have.
Just the 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
She started to create another one in Oathbringer and ended up kind of like letting it go. So I feel like she's past that. I'm more interested in her like combining her existing ones into just one person, please.
I do have a question based off of one of the chats that Shallan is a mess. I like how much of a mess she is, though. I mean, I think it makes her super interesting.
She stresses
gave me ulcers.
Yeah, same. Okay, in order to answer this question, what do you guys think about the idea that there's a gap between this book and the next one? Like, I've heard that there's a year or more in between, like before Rhythm of War. I don't know. There is. Okay. My theory was that either this book or the next book, we will see, like, we'll see Cal's brother and Elkar's son, and maybe Shallan and Adolin's child, if they have a child, kind of growing up. And so Shallan will have kind of gotten things together for herself, maybe, hopefully by then, but not probably, I don't know, maybe not.
I mean, Shallan could have had a baby in the beginning of this book. We could start this book with the Shallan baby.
Okay,
we could.
I was messaging Angela the other day from Literature Science Alliance because you guys know how time is different on Roshar, and there was some like people were talking about. Oh, I remember. I think it was Yasna. Whenever Amaram like confronted her and was like trying to be like, "I'm so glad you're okay" or whatever, and she made a joke about Amaran's mom being pregnant with him for 10 months. And I like did the math, and like 10 months on Roshar is like an extra 250 days of being pregnant or something.
Oh, frick.
Yeah. I know it's really random and doesn't really mean anything, but I was just like, what? They're human, right? Why are they pregnant longer? I don't know if I did that right, but it was weird.
That means something. As someone that had my wife go 42 weeks, that's a lot.
I could see if Shallan, I don't think she'll be Mama Shallan. I hope not. But
maybe she creates a new personality to be Mama.
Yes,
probably.
I see her creating a different personality for that.
No.
Yep, wet nurse Shallan.
Shallan has no business being a mother because she has had the worst examples of motherhood possible until
And
Navani.
They would have twins. You know it would be twins.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh man. No,
My
I
theory-
think
Adolin is not ready to be a father.
My theory was all of the babies.
They'd have
would-
well-dressed babies, I'll say.
Very well
Especially if
dressed.
Adolin goes bad, I mean, that's gonna be tough.
Jesse, quit speaking that into existence.
Adolin will go
I'm
bad,
gonna have
and
heart
then
palpitations.
She'll have his kids, and then she'll be like, what do I do? Then Kaladin will be like, I'll help. And then that will fulfill both Jesse's wish and Jay's wish.
I do like the idea of Gavilar, Eloquar's son, and Kaladin's new little brother being like bigger characters in the rest of the series. That's pretty.
I think that all the baby characters will be important for era or the second era.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
Yeah,
That's
no,
probably
that
true.
what
That's
other baby
true.
characters do we have other
So
than
baby Kaladin, or Kaladin's brother, whatever. Eloquar's son, potentially Shallan and Adolin's kids. I feel like there was another person I was thinking of the other day.
Maybe Lift. I mean, I know she's already.
I think Lift might have been one of them.
Yeah. Well, he said that Lift is going to be a big character, so I can see that.
I'm a little bummed because she's not my favorite, and I'm like, I don't know if I want her around for the next.
I love Lift.
I love Liv.
So precious.
No.
Prediction about Liv: she's gonna eat all the pancakes and you're through. She's gonna steal everybody's lunch.
I feel like I've never felt more heard than when Alex Nieves, you guys follow his channel, he hates Lift, and I'm like, oh, my heart, thank you.
I give him so much grief about it.
It makes me so happy.
I used to be a Lift hater, but I accidentally came around after getting just a little distance.
Same.
She's so cute.
I like Liv
And she's
with
smart.
Zeth at the end.
She's not
of
Yes.
Warrior.
Yes, well, Lift and Zeth work together because it's almost like a weird buddy cop combo.
Well-
Because Zeth is way too serious. He's like even more serious than Kaladin,
But-
and Zeth is so little and so ridiculous.
But Lift and Nightblood seem to be on the same maturity level
That's true.
when they talk to each other.
fair.
But her scene with Dalinar when she walks into the thrill and she puts her hand in his.
I love that. That was a good scene.
Just
Here's
loved it.
Here's another one that Kaladin will say the fourth ideal.
Yeah.
It seems the most obvious, I think.
It does. I think there's
I don't know.
always
Do we-
something obvious that happens.
Does
And
he
that
get
would be it.
denied again? Because that would be even crazier, I think.
I would be so mad.
Probably.
Oh, and Alucard, he's like about to say it, and
I mean,
then
let's be real. Kaladin never has anything good happen to him, so he will only say it if something else horrible happens to counterbalance.
Probably Dalinar dying.
I mean, that could happen.
Dalinar and Adolin.
Well, Adolin's his bro now, so maybe Adolin turns, and then Kaladin has to fight him. I don't
Adolin
know.
turns.
Or it's when he comes up against Moash, maybe, or something happens with Bridge 4 guys.
That, oh my gosh, that'd be tragic.
A
And then-
conversation.
Go ahead, Michael.
The conversation that I think a lot of people have, at least a lot of people that I talk to have, is like, who is the best fighter on Roshar, and are we going to see them fight each other? Like, Dalinar is probably out of the list because he doesn't have a sword. So you have Kaladin, you have Adolin, you have potentially
Scar.
Moash, but I don't think he's good enough. Maybe Scar. Like, Adolin and Kaladin, I feel like, are the main contenders. Like, will we get to see them fight? Because we know Adolin is, like, the best duelist. We know Kaladin is one of the best fighters because he's a Radiant. They're on unfair footing. But, like, do we get to see the best fighters in Roshar fight each other? Or is that something we will get denied?
I
Is
don't
Zeth
want
not in
Adolin
that list?
Fight Kaladin.
Zeth belongs on the list. That was I was trying to think of him. Zeth belongs on the list. We've seen Zeth fight Kaladin twice and
Yes.
lose twice. Well,
Which was
Kind of.
awesome.
yes, Words of Radiance, Zeth versus Kaladin was awesome. I don't think
Yes.
we need to see Zeth on the bad side again, because he spent so long on the bad side.
Yeah.
But if everyone wants to predict that Adolin is going to be bad, I do want to see like an Adolin versus Kaladin. But to be fair, he would have to go Radiant, whether he's good Radiant or bad Radiant.
Bad Radiant.
I just like I'm kind of like, is everybody gonna be a Radiant though?
In Star Wars, everybody has to be a Jedi, so everyone has to be a Radiant in the series.
What if Shallan changes her mind about Adolin and does fall in love with Kaladin, and that's what makes Adolin turn bad?
I
mean,
think
Shallan
if
could do
Adolin
that.
went bad, Renarin would influence him to do it.
To be bad?
Renarin pretty much backs his play on any turn.
Mm-hmm. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it together.
I do have one thing that I was always saying was that Adolin didn't know what happened to his mom. So I was always like, hey, is that going to cause issues with your dad? Yeah. Like when you find out, if you find out, that was always something I was wondering. But on the top of
is that it's not that Dalinar did it on purpose. He didn't know she was in there. So it wasn't like malicious towards Evie.
I know, but he didn't tell. He always lied to Adolin about what actually happened.
He lied to everybody.
Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if, like, when
Except
he finds
Thaddeus.
So here's another thing. So this one, Renarin goes against Taravangian because Renarin, isn't it he like a black spot on the diagram?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So is that part of why you think Leslie, why you think he's like bad, or do you think it's something else?
I'm so conflicted about him. I've always not trusted him. And then there's the whole black spot, but then he doesn't quite seem to be a Radiant. He seems to be something else, but I'm not sure what.
Of the corrupted.
Okay, so what are the theories here? Do we think that it's actually a corrupted good spren, or do we think that he is bonded to an odium spren somehow?
So in Oathbringer, they said that his spren was of Ja and not the unmade that took them to Shadesmar, and she's the unmade that's thinking about switching sides that Shallan is supposed to try to convince or capture or something.
Okay.
So I think that's what his spren is, and maybe because the unmade that the spren is from is like on the fence, then maybe the spren is also on the fence.
Interesting.
But
The fact that
itself as odiums, though, right? Because like they don't really know.
I feel like the fact that his spren helps him tell the future in some way, and that is so against Vorianism, makes me think that power from that Radiant has been classified as evil somewhere in the past, and it got changed over time, which makes me think that it's an odium spren.
Well, but then I'm thinking,
are they from Odium?
Yeah. So, and if it is, it doesn't seem like it's all bad. So what if Renarin, who's always kind of been interested in the ardent side of things, what if they accidentally bonded and he's kind of started half purifying it?
Well, there's a lot of people that don't think that odium is inherently just like the big bad, like just as evil as like a devil character.
It's like
maybe
I agree.
Like maybe odium is not necessarily evil. He's just being painted as the bad guy because of we like the other characters.
Well, we find out in Oathbringer that the humans brought odium in the first place, like the humans' gods in the first place, and they brought him to Roshar.
Right. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
I'm really going to tread careful here, but that would fit Sanderson's style. That's all I want to say.
I think
I
that
like that theory a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Some of the theories that I've seen for like some people's main theories, and I'm not going to go into specifics here, but some of them feel like they would end up being too similar to what happens in other Cosmere books, where I'm like, are we going to see that same kind of plot line again, though? So
surely not.
It's hard to, but like, it's frustrating because you're like, well, no, you'll do something different. I'm like, but what if he does kind of the same thing in a different way? Or
he does do that. Like he'll do very similar things to other series. In this series in particular.
That's true. You don't want it to be the same exact thing as something else.
But I still like that theory.
It's so vague.
I know.
I do like that theory.
Me too, actually, yeah.
Well, and then we've got the whole Ghostbloods thing. I think something big's going to happen with them in Rhythm of War. I can't quite figure out what, but I think they're
That
going to make a
makes
big
sense.
play. I think they're going
Yeah.
to make some big play, whatever their big
Well-
thing is.
Something I'm confused about is, are the Ghostbloods working with Taravangian? Because I thought that the people who tried to assassinate Elokar in Wards of Radiance that Moash was working with, I thought they were with the Ghostbloods, and then we find out later that they're working for Taravangian. And so I was like, did I misremember that? Or,
I think they're all connected.
yeah, I don't know.
Isn't there two factions?
The diagram is what the one faction calls themselves. I don't think that they are intentionally the same thing, but
Okay.
that doesn't mean that somebody might be controlling both of them and manipulating
Yeah.
them or something.
I think maybe when Kaladin first met with the people that Moash was talking to, I think maybe I assumed they were the Ghostbloods because we had just met the Ghostbloods with Shallan, and then so like I tied them together in my head. But I don't know if that's really right or not.
I'm forgetting off the top of my head. What's the name of the other group again?
the diagram, or like the people are following the diagram.
The Ghostbloods.
There's the Ghostbloods, and then there's another one that I can't remember if
Skybreakers.
the Skybreakers.
Oh, yeah.
That's who the Ninali nail guy.
The Herald of
This-
Justice.
The Skybreakers are just an order of radiant, I thought.
Yeah.
They- Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have like they're
opposing,
carrying
right?
out. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, aren't they kind of opposing? They're going up against. Oh, okay.
They joined Odium at this point.
The Sons of Honor is the one that Gavilar was part of. That weird
Yeah.
cult.
How
They're-
many factions are there?
I know there's so many.
Oh my gosh.
And
I thought
Shallan
there
has
was
like a
only two.
personality for all of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
think Rock is going to enter the fight in this next one too.
Either
Yeah.
that or he's going to have a crisis of faith or whatever for his culture.
That's going to
because-
happen. Yeah, it's going to be an arc, but
Do you guys think that I feel bad because it's been a little while since I've read the first three, but the Horn Eater where they live, do you think there's what are they called in the Cosmere, the places that people can like go between worlds from?
the perpendicularity.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone here can answer that question.
So what I got from Oathbringer was, I thought they said there was a perpendicularity in the lake that where Rock is from, but that only goes to Shadesmar, so I don't know if that's what you're talking
That's what I was talking about.
about. Okay.
Like there's I couldn't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, so I was just like those like little special places or whatever. And the fact that like Rock can see Syl and stuff like that. Oh, okay, thank you, Rich. Cultivation's perpendicularity is in the Horn Eater Peaks.
Thank you, Rich.
Rich coming in clutch as always.
Yeah.
As always.
So the thing that I am most curious about, and I don't know if we'll get all the answers right now or if we'll have to wait till later, is we're told that there are 3 Bondsmiths. We know that Dalinar is bonded with the Stormfather. Who are the other Bondsmiths? Are they both like there's 2 theories. Either all of the Bondsmith spren, like Stormfather, are one for each of the shards, or are they all cultivation and honors children? Then the theory that I came up with like while filming a video the other day is, based on other things around Urithiru, it seems like maybe there's a spren that runs Urithiru like a giant fabrial, in which case to run Urithiru you would have to have a Bondsmith run that city. So we have to see another Bondsmith pop up if we're going to see Urithiru's secrets come out, is my guess.
So I've seen the theory that the Bridgeman that is Parshman is the one. That's a theory. Relaine.
Oh, I would love that.
The other question,
I would
so
too.
that question is, can the listeners bond with good spren? Because I feel like that's what's
Yes.
happening with Venli and Oathbringer.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so too.
It,
And I'm here for it.
it feels almost like you might be able to bond with more than one spren, because to me in Oathbringer it seems like Venli is bonded with one of Odium's spren and is starting to bond with a good spren.
I don't think
They
she's
said
got a void spring.
The good spren like captured or enslaved the void spren within her gem heart or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it did. Which I thought it was cool. They had gem hearts too. That was interesting.
Yes. Okay, I was just thinking this about Navani. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, because she's an engineer, so she wants to learn how
She's
to run
all
your
about the
anyway.
fabrials. Oh man. That
I
also
love
makes Navani and Dalinar such a freaking power couple. Holy crap.
2 Bondsmiths.
I love this idea.
That makes the most sense. And the freaking back cover, if you've seen the back cover of the book, it talks about do you have the back cover? Can you read it for us, Elle?
Yeah. The back cover or the inside?
It was whatever the synopsis is.
Okay. Do you want me to read? Let me see if I can find. I'll just read it because I'm not sure what part you're referring to.
Okay.
After forming a coalition of human resistance against the enemy invasion, Dalinar, Kaladin, and his High Gradients have spent a year fighting a protracted, brutal war. Neither side has gained an advantage, and the threat of a betrayal by Dalinar's crafty ally Taravangian looms over every strategic move. Now, as new technological discoveries by Navani Colon scholars begin to change the face of the war, the enemy prepares a bold and dangerous operation. The arms race that follows will challenge the very core of the radiant ideals and potentially reveal the secrets of the ancient tower that was once the heart of their strength. Is that the part they're referring to?
That, and I think it was actually
the next
Katie from... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, there's one more paragraph. You want me to read that one too?
No, there was a section, like, remember in the Way of Kings at the back, it talks about like 4 main characters and the roles they're going to play. There's a section. Yes, there's a section of that for Rhythm of War. And I want to say that Katie posted it somewhere the other day because I was reading it and she was like, I'm halfway through the book and I still don't know what this means. But
okay,
it was...
there are 4 whom we watch. The first is the surgeon, forced to forsake healing to fight in the most brutal war of our time. The second is the assassin, a murderer who weeps as he kills. The third is the liar, a young woman who wears a scholar's mantle over the heart of a thief. The last is the prince, a warlord whose eyes have opened to the ancient past as his thirst for battle wanes. Is that the part?
There was one about Rhythm of War. I thought maybe I'm crazy.
And it says one of them may redeem us, and one of them will destroy us.
No. Everyone keep talking. I'll see if I can find one of them. I may be crazy. It's possible.
But that is interesting that of those 4, like it lists those 4 people, and it says they're watching them, and it says one of them may redeem us, and one of them will destroy us. And the 4 people they're talking about are Dalinar, Zeth, Kaladin, and Shallan.
Yes.
I know.
Elle, can you click on that comment from Just Val now? I think that Unify Them is going to be unifying the humans and the singer-listener races. I like that theory.
That's my super optimistic agreement.
And Kaladin would 100% be behind that.
Yeah, he would.
Like if Dalinar said, this is what I'm going to do, Kaladin would spit the 4th ideal out and the 5th.
Yeah.
I really like that.
He shouted for them to stop fighting, so he would be like, "Oh, everybody's listening now."
Oh, that broke my heart.
Me too.
That scene, it's so sad.
Yes, it is.
And Elokar, obviously, and Elokar's son.
I have a question for those who haven't read Dawnshard. What do we know about Dawnshards? I forget.
Not
what
very
we know
much.
Before. Okay.
Wait, you just said it with an S. Like that's a thing? I don't know.
So I may be able to kind of answer this question, even though I have read Dawnshard. Before I read Dawnshard, I went and I watched a bunch of theories when I was making a different theories video for Rhythm of War. And basically the implication, based on everybody else that was theorizing, is that there's some sort of hidden super weapon. But that was pretty much I think there's 4 mentions of the word Dawnshard in like the entire series so far, or something like that.
So they're the Infinity Stones.
Aren't they like world destroyers?
Does anybody else ever think of Final Fantasy 12 when they hear Dawnshard? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I didn't play 12.
I haven't played that one.
Darn. Okay.
I like that for Unify Them. I like uniting all the shards.
But that would mean you'd have to unite the shards from like every planet.
That's what we need. We need the Avengers.
I think that's Hoid's goal.
Elle, click on Rich's quote from 113 of Oathbringer.
Honor did not support them. He raved. Speaking of the Dawnshards, ancient weapons used to destroy the Trampoline Halls.
Which the Trampoline Halls is also like the heaven thing they talk about, but most people speculate that was just the planet they came from originally.
Okay.
So it was
By
like,
most people speculate, do you mean like in their world or like fans?
Fans.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it like people speculate that the Trampoline Halls was basically just the planet they came from, and they basically nuked it to death.
And I remember captured in worlds.
Could the Trampoline Halls be this like spiritual realm? Like you go there after you die or something?
I mean, that's what they say that it is, but also pretty much everything about Vorinism is just twisted history.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's hard to know.
Yeah, because during the hierarchy or hierarchy, they changed the history?
Well, yes, a lot of it has been altered.
Way to go, Jesse. Now we're getting into like, it's not even predictions. It's like predictions for the whole Cosmere now.
We're getting so far in this series that I feel like it's necessary.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to not spoil things from other series and other books.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder. That's why it's like as time goes on, eventually there's going to have to be a cutoff where you have to read all the Cosmere to understand at least the Stormlight stuff. We're getting close if we're talking about all these theories.
I kind of feel like at this point, Rhythm of War is. I mean, I feel like
it might be it.
Yeah, I think so. To really like the way that people encouraged Warbreaker to be read so that you can get those Easter eggs. It's like, Mistborn. You want to read that one. I'm like, okay, if somebody's in the middle of reading, or like if they're not done with the Mistborn series and then they go to pick up Rhythm of War, they're gonna like see some stuff and be like, wait. So yeah, it's hard to not say.
Does anybody else hope for female friendship in the next books?
Between who?
Shallan and anybody, Yasna and anybody, any female friends.
I mean, Yasna and Shallan have a pretty good friendship.
I feel like Yasna is going to end up being like a lesbian character, so I don't think she's going to have the female friendship that people want.
I sometimes forget that Navani and Yasna are mother and daughter. Does anybody else forget sometimes?
I used to get them confused.
I only read it this year.
Well, I know in Oathbringer when she comes back and like nobody freaking cares. And they're just like, oh yeah, Yasna's back. And then Shallan's like, man, I'm like her ward all over again. You're like, yeah, okay. Like nobody, I don't know. I remember, and like, I would always forget that Yasna and Elokar were brother and sister. Like I wouldn't literally forget, but I'd be like, oh yeah, they're brother and sister. It's weird.
I forgot that Navani was Elokar's mom, because then she was like all sad about his death, and I was like, oh yeah, that's her kid too.
I saw, let's see, let me look at the chat. Yeah, I have read it. To those who I have read it. So these are like before I've read predictions.
Wait, did you finish it, Al?
I know everything that happened. So sorry. That's why I'm saying like these.
I didn't realize.
Well, that's why I was saying earlier, when I say things in past tense, it's not because like, oh, I thought this would happen, but like it didn't. It was like literally that's where I was in my prediction.
Okay.
I need it.
I was not crazy. Katie Stormbless tweeted on November 8th. She tweeted the words, I'm over halfway through the book, and I don't understand the synopsis. I'm guessing it was a synopsis from Rhythm of War, but it was an image that the Cosmere network uploaded and has since deleted, which makes me wonder if it was some kind of spoiler that we're not supposed to know, which may confirm that theory.
Interesting.
I'm sorry to those that feel betrayed.
Well, I mean, if she hasn't really happened, you can't expect her to sit on it.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone
I mean-
who was given a copy of the book would not just binge it. So
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny because like I'm not trying. I wasn't trying to. I tried so hard, and then Jesse asked. I was
I'm not to talk about it.
trying not to talk about it. But yeah. So I won't comment on like content and stuff, but like it's really freaking good. I know there's been like people. I don't know. It's good. It's good. And I'm like, I was kind of picky because Way of Kings is like a special place in my heart. I love Way of Kings. And I have liked it in order of them coming out. Way of Kings has been my favorite, and then it's gone down. And this one to me is like backup. I think it's incredible.
That's exciting.
That is very exciting.
That's all I can say.
What do y'all think is going to happen with Zeth? Are we going to address the fact that he was killing everybody and he just like, oh, I'm a Radiant now, I'm good? Do you think they're going to be okay with that?
I remember at the end of Oathbringer, they're like, well, if you're on our side now, like, cool. And I'm like, guys, it was like a huge
We
threat.
spent, almost 4,000 pages afraid of the assassin in white, and now it's like, all right, cool.
And there was nobody who was like, hey, wait, didn't you die? Like, nobody was like, how did you come back to life? They were just like, okay, cool, you're with us now.
Yeah, Dalinar's like, he's got my 6. He's all right. He's cool.
I mean, they were in the middle of a fight. They didn't have a lot of options, but yes, I would assume that Rhythm of War maybe addressed some of that, or maybe not,
so.
because maybe it's one of those things where it's like, well, all the fans wanted Zeth to be good anyway, so we'll just buy it. I
Well,
guess.
yeah, but let's flesh it out properly.
Abrupt. I wish there had been a little more like foreshadowing that was going to happen.
Well, the
Maybe
love
there
triangle
was,
was abrupt.
I always felt like the end of Oathbringer, like the very end of... Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, I do think Zeth has to play some part with Nightblood. I think Nightblood is going to play a bigger part. I just have a feeling, I have a theory after reading Dawnshard. I'm going to message you, Michael and Leslie, about it.
Do it.
I think Nightblood is going to play a big part, so Zeth will have to play
I
some
hope
sort of
so.
part.
And then, if you think about it, Nightblood wouldn't let Zeth wield him if he were evil, right?
I don't think he has that. I really don't. I think that's why Zeth or Nightblood is so scary, because I really don't think he has those sort of qualms about him. I think to him, destroy evil is a very vague thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The voice that Michael Kramer uses for Nightblood, it's so funny. It has me cracking up. Oh, I thought you were going to click on that one.
Oh, I can go to that one. The one right after?
Yeah. I saw that, but I don't remember reading that, but that's very interesting. It makes me think that maybe Kaladin will get his love back.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting.
This person, Emily, is asking if the 5th book is Zeth. I think it is. I think the 5th book is supposed to be Zeth's backstory.
Whose backstory is in the 4th book? No.
Venli Eshonai.
It's so weird to me that he
But not
speculates these, but he changes them all the time.
Yeah.
I think we need a Yasna story.
So
I need to know why she was sick when she was young and like her family hurt her. Like, what was that? And I thought she was getting a book, but maybe not.
And apparently she was the first Radiant too, so
yeah.
Zeth is book 5 currently, and Yasna is book 10 currently.
10? I have to wait till 10?
Well,
are we going to be alive then?
I have a feeling that 9 and 10 might get swapped because Talnell is for book 9 right now, and it seems like he'd be a real good book 10.
So I will say, Jade, if it makes you feel better, I think originally book 3 was supposed to be Zeth's. So maybe it'll get rearranged.
Okay.
And also,
he has swapped them quite a bit.
I saw you make a little face at the Venli Eshonai thing.
Is it interesting?
Backstories are like so incredibly minimal compared to the first 3.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm interested in their past, but like not that much.
Do we not like the listeners here? Because I'm a huge listener fan.
I love the listeners. I love
I
getting their point of view.
I love
so
learning about the Parshendi culture, especially now that we know that they're like the OG Roshar people. Like, I'm definitely interested, but there's so many other people that I really wanted Yasin's flashbacks.
Alethi culture sucks so bad.
I'd be down for that too.
I don't know if Adolin gets a book.
Renarin POV book. There's just so many other people.
I feel like a Renarin Adolin one would be tricky because it's so heavily tied to Dalinar.
Yeah.
It would mostly just be like, oh, Dad sucks. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're
I
just
also
like
think it'd be hard because once Adolin's bad, then it's gonna be hard to
oh, Jesse.
I'm like so nervous for the things I said in the unpopular opinions video about Adolin. I feel like people like, okay, if anybody of you watch that video.
Unpopular opinions video. It's supposed to be unpopular.
Well, and I really like to lean into it now because people get like super upset when I'm like, I don't like Adolin. Like, so I did this one video about I found the like dumbest questions asked on the internet type of thing, and then I did where I pulled character names out of something and then had to decide which character would be more likely to have asked this dumb question.
That's
funny.
One of the questions was, are thunderstorms NASA's way of covering up space battles? Yeah. And one of the people I drew was Adolin, and I was like, Adolin would totally ask this question. And so I thought that was hilarious. And people always tell me I don't get him, I don't do his character justice. And I'm like, well, I'm not the author. I don't have to do his character justice. But
he's a total airhead.
I love to lean into it hard now. Just like because there are people I'm like, guys, it's a fictional character. It's okay.
Yeah, I love Adolin. That's still funny as crap.
But it's funny though because I do get it to an extent, like inwardly being like, gosh darn it, stop! No, they're amazing. Like I get it because when people say Kaladin is mopey, I'm like, excuse me, he has depression and he has PTSD and his whole life has been terrible. Like I always get like really defensive, so I get it, but it is funny because people get really upset.
Now I'm really excited to see the unpopular opinions video.
Yeah, like when is that coming out?
Friday.
Yeah.
I also said some pretty mean things about Navani.
Oh no!
Yeah, I basically said.
You think she's a hussy or what?
I said that she is indeed a gold digger.
She kind of is.
I think she's an opportunist. She is definitely an opportunist.
There's that one that she's like self-conscious that people think she just wants to be married to the king or whatever, or like she's power hungry, and I'm like, yeah, but kinda.
Yeah,
Wait, is the difference between an opportunist and gold digger just semantics? I think it is.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have one last thing that I want to bring up, and Alex is pointing out because he's in the unpopular opinions. Part 1 is on Friday. We got so into our
salty.
They just split it up.
Yeah, but I think we'll end this on something that I've seen, supposedly like Words of Brandon, that whole thing, that there are characters that are supposed to be like a reflection of other characters. And the idea is that the Gavilar, Navani, Dalinar relationship is supposed to almost reflect, or this new relationship is reflecting the Kaladin, Shallan, Adolin. So there are some theories that like Adolin, something bad will happen to him. And because Kaladin, like Dalinar, was like brooding and mysterious the way that Dalinar was to Navani, and like she had these like this deep connection with this person, but went with like the safer choice kind of thing. So there's like this whole thread.
Jesse
gets excited for darkness.
I mean, I'm totally like.
I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen to Adolin, but to have that like reflection thing, like that sounds super cool. I mean, and then I get my wish of Kaladin and Shallan ending up together. So
no, she's broken. He needs a stable person.
He's just as broken as she is. He just manifests
we don't need two broke people. We need a mender. A broke person and a mender, a healer.
I'll add that I kind of feel like this is gonna, like, I'm not trying to like tell anybody like I question what you think of relationships now in real life, but I kind of feel like I wouldn't want somebody who emotionally is having trouble to like rely on their romantic partner. Which I feel like, because whenever Adolin's like, I love the real you, Shallan, I'll help you, whatever. And I'm just like, I kind of don't think like you can do that for her. Like you can support her and be there for her, but like she's got to do this on her own or like with a therapist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They all need therapy.
They
Roshar all need therapy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. Yes, Leslie.
Yeah.
Oh my
Or a
god.
hug.
Guys, get out of here.
Ooh.
Hey, they are
That
brothers, so that
is
would
wild.
make sense.
So
too.
maybe that was
Well, let's
actually
keep
what,
it in the family.
is that what Brandon was
Oh.
asking? That would be interesting.
That's funny.
Okay, Henry,
That
I
would make Renarin Dalinar.
Yeah.
I agree with this, that he's like, oh, I'll help you with this problem by treating your different personalities like totally embracing the difference. Like, oh, this one's fun to drink with. And
I'm telling you, Adolin would love all the personas.
is
A
this
different wife every night.
romantically Renarin and Kaladin?
Ooh.
Do they swing that way? I've seen some people wish that Kaladin and Adolin were together.
That's very,
I do love
very,
their
very
I
popular.
would not
It's
mind
so
that,
popular.
actually.
It's
I
so
would
popular.
not mind that at all. Actually. That would be hilarious.
I don't think Adolin would be down with Kaladin's style, though. I know he doesn't dress.
Well, he would dress Kaladin.
Yes,
He would love it because Kaladin would just wear whatever he told him to.
He already has a pet name for Kaladin. He calls him Bridge Boy.
Yep.
Let's see. But this book will just be all the main characters having extensive.
Pretty much.
It starts in group therapy.
You know,
Scene
I
one.
I feel like Kaladin didn't find out about the whole revelation with the humans being the Voidbringers until really late in Oathbringer. And I feel like that's something he's going to like really dwell on. I don't know. I can see him like sitting with that and being really, really unhappy. And I have a feeling I'm onto something.
No, I think you're I think you're completely
Maggie?
right, because one of my dark timelines was this book. Kaladin basically does nothing because he's in a depression because he is having the recreant's thoughts the whole book because of what he did in book 3. And then what happens when all of his friends kill each other and he realizes how screwed up everything is, he's just emo the whole book because the recreants happen for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's not the whole book. I'm okay with a little bit.
Wait, guys,
Yeah,
we have a
I
new,
definitely.
we have a
Sorry,
new
go ahead, Al.
pairing. Seth
Oh.
and
You
Kaladin.
have no opinion?
No.
They could fly to the sky together.
I don't think Zeth has feelings that are not like, I wish I hadn't killed this person.
These are fun. I think this is a fun place to end it with Bridge Bay. I feel like
So if they did have a therapy session, would it be a sprinter vision?
Oh wow.
Oh,
I'll see myself out.
Oh, Leslie.
Okay, guys, this is like unpopular. So when that unpopular opinions video, remember
Kinda.
because I feel like that's kind of sort of along the line.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a derogatory term.
I hate that he calls him that all the time. I don't
Yeah.
think
Same.
I hate it. With fighting, yeah, I've seen that one too. Anyway, it's been like an hour and a half. And I feel like we're all gonna have to come back and talk once everybody's read Rhythm of War and Dawnshard,
yeah.
That would be
let's do it.
fun.
which will be like Wednesday of next week. Everybody's gonna go binge.
Yes.
So, but this was super, super fun. Thanks everybody. A special thanks to Leslie because she hopped in very last minute, which we really appreciate. It was very fun to have everybody here. We'll have everybody's channels linked. Definitely check everyone out. Check out the Storm Along thing if you need to kind of refresh yourself or just want to geek out. It's very fun too to see Victoria and Ryan like have their predictions, and then Michael and Christy just like do that.
We're having a live stream tomorrow, right, Christy?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, for the 3/4 mark of Oathbringer. So
And that's on your channel, right, Christy?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be
Okay,
through
cool.
chapter 99, I think.
Very nice. Very nice.
this will be the first time I'm ahead of them, and I'm not going to be able to.
Same. Same. It's gonna be rough, Jade.
Jesse is out. Anyway, it was super fun. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody who joined in the chat. It was really fun. And we'll see